Good morning and welcome everyone. So we are just waiting for everyone to come in, right? So we'll probably start in about 2 to 3 minutes time. Yeah. All right. Hi everyone. A very good morning to you all. So thank you for making the time to join us today in our Improving Your Solution Security with the GoSecure webinar. I'm Alicia and I'm the secretary that's taking care of the cybersecurity chapter in SGTech. Right. So in this webinar, we'll have a sharing by IMDA on the GoSecure program, followed by Singapore Institute of Technology, SIT for short, TÜV SÜD and Athena Dynamics. So without further ado, I'll now like to call upon Dutch, who is the Honorary Treasurer in SGTech's Cybersecurity chapter, as well as the SME's Go Digital Committee in SGTech, to welcome you all. So right now we are on live. We can start the recording. So Dutch, please, over to you.
Thank you, Alicia. Hi, hope you have a good morning. A warm welcome to all, and thank you for taking the time to join us in this Improving and Solution Security with GoSecure. I'm Dutch. I'm the Treasurer in SGTech Cybersecurity chapter, as well as part of the SME Go Digital Committee in SGTech. As we move on, COVID-19 situation has impacted and disrupted various businesses in many areas. We could see more companies are adopting technology to speed up their digitalization plan, which also places a high alert on cybersecurity issues. We do need to acknowledge that as a solution provider, we need to ensure the provide solutions are cyber secure to prevent any security issue our client may encounter. Thus, we are reaching out to all of our ICT SME to share with you how we can secure your solution better. Today, we are pleased to work with IMDA GoSecure team, Athena Dynamics, TÜV SÜD and SIT, Singapore Institute of Technology, to present to you on today's webinar topic, Improving Solution Security with GoSecure in the COVID-19 driven recession. It is crucial for us to understand the impact of the product design with cybersecurity in mind, compared with the product without it. With what tools you can use to test whether your product and solution are cyber secure and safe for use, and data safeguards are in place to protect against cyber theft and leakage. As this year, June 2020, in support for ICT SME to adopt cybersecurity tools and services, IMDA has expanded GoSecure program. ICT SMEs can now procure services through outsourcing cybersecurity needs to supplement their limited knowledge and resources with a wonderful 80% subsidies. Also, if your organization is trying to get listed on the SME Go Digital program, do note that the solutions and speaker here today will be able to help you to reach out the step closer. For now, before I pass the stage to the next speaker, allow me to share with you about SGTech. SGTech is a premium trade association for local infocom company. We are close to 1,000 corporate members ranging from startup, micro SME, SME, and MNC, whom are representing and articulating any technology industrial concern to relevant authority and stakeholders. We strive to create an ecosystem to strengthen the community and help the ICT industry to grow. Mainly, there are three key roles we are today: a business enabler, as a neutral platform and aggregator for the tech industry. We have networking platform that give our member opportunity. A responsible voice. We run sessions with various government agencies to provide feedback and give suggestions on how we help the industry. Last but not least is industry insight. We provide knowledge and intel on updates and news so that members will be aware of the rapid changes to adapt quickly. As to share, as SGTech, we form various chapters. We enable us to provide focused support and development to strategic and emerging industrial segments of the technology industry. When the company joins as a member, they can choose to join the following chapter. We do have cloud and data chapter, digital transformation, cybersecurity, which I'm in today, Singapore enterprise, AI high performance, and smart nation chapter. Of course, new chapter will be launched in response to the continued growth and needs of the technology industry. Next, I would like to share a little bit on SME Go Digital Committee. At SGTech, we have a SME Go Digital Committee that looks into program we can help our ICT company. Some of the support program include SGT consultations workshop that will share issues faced ICT company and get information from experienced company on how the SGT process is like and how to overcome it. Tech Info series will be more on cloud, Go Cloud and GoSecure program. Lastly, I would like to share this initiative is called Tech Partner Initiative. And this is important to me because I believe a lot of Singapore solutions provide very good solution, and how we can do this Tech Partner Initiative able to help the company to establish business and technology partnership that can help to expand their business offering and customer base. Here are the things that you can achieve with Tech Partner Initiative. First, technology partnership. This refers to identify a partner whose solution can match and competent laws to cater a client project. Next is a reseller and distribution partnership. We can also help a partner to find how to distribute your solution or can find new solutions to expand your portfolio. Another possible outcome is a strategic partnership, meaning forming a strategic alliance in new product development or for market expansion. As this list is not exhaustive, as we may also request for other forms of partnership that can add value to your business. Do speak with us or our secretary of SGTech if you want to find out more. And without further ado, I would like to welcome our next speaker, Ek Hock from IMDA Innovation and Ecosystem Development Team to share on GoSecure. Ek Hock, pass over to you. Thank you.
Right, thanks. Thanks, Josh. Let me bring up my slides. Okay, can you guys see my slides?
Yes, can.
All right. Okay, let's begin. A very good morning to you. My name is Ek Hock. I'm from IMDA. Thank you for taking time to join us at this webinar. I welcome this opportunity to speak to you on a very important topic, a program that we have called GoSecure. We know that in our industry that cybersecurity is often an afterthought process in the software development lifecycle. What I meant here is that when a software SME develops a software applications, the focus is very much on developing the features and functionality of the solutions to meet the needs of the market or to meet the needs of the customers at the best possible cost. Cybersecurity is often not spec'd into the design requirement of the solution. And also we know that SME customers are also not willing to pay more for a cyber secure solutions. They just want a solution that can meet their needs, including low cost, less the cybersecurity. But we feel that this should not be the case. We feel that cybersecurity in Tech SME, in our ICT SME, is critical to our Singapore economy and our Singapore cyber defense. It is important to place the emphasis on building security into the software solutions and counter that tendency for security to be an afterthought in software development. Three key reasons why cybersecurity should be taken seriously here in Singapore by our ICT SME. Number one, it supports the national broad-based digitalization effort. ICT, we know that a large proportion of the SME businesses procure tech solutions from tech SMEs. And SME are vulnerable targets for cyber attacks. In fact, what I call them easy targets. I think later we will have other speakers from SIT and TÜV SÜD and Athena Dynamics. They can share with you as well why SME are easy targets. The second point is that it support the security and resilience of our Singapore CII. And we know that some of our tech SMEs, they are subcontractor to the main con who build or operate this critical infocom infrastructure. And this subcontractor will be the weakest link if they are not providing cybersecure solutions to the main con. And the third reason why cybersecurity should be taken seriously is that we are living in a digital economy. In this digital economy, data, digital identity, connected devices, and online transaction will play a central role. So tech SMEs like yourself need to have at least a basic level of cybersecurity in the solutions that you provide in order for you to be relevant and competitive in the new world. And but we know that our industry have challenges in building up this cybersecurity capability. And essentially, we can group these challenges into three categories. One is people, second is process, third is tools. Allow me to elaborate what I meant by these challenges, and later we'll need your help to help me validate whether these are indeed the challenges. Okay, one, pertaining to people. We know that our tech SMEs, they are very lean, and because they are very lean, they are not able to send their non-cybersecurity professionals for cybersecurity training. Okay, and what's the most important point here is that we know that our tech SME, to them, it does not make economic sense for them to hire and retain cybersecurity professionals. And we know, if we ask among you guys, how many of you have cybersecurity professional working in your firm? Most of you will not. Most of you will say no, largely because of that point. Even if you can afford to hire them, you likely not able to retain them for the long term. They will likely to seek another company that can offer them a stronger or a better career path in cybersecurity. And to send them for training, these courses can be expensive. And we have CTRAC courses on these, but they may not be, they are only for Singaporean and Singapore PR. And there's a problem of trying to translate what they have learned in a technical training like cybersecurity training into actual practicing it. So these are challenges pertaining to people. And because of these challenges pertaining to people, it leads to challenges in the process. Because you have a lack of cybersecurity professionals, you have a lack of cybersecurity knowledge, and therefore it affects what I term as under process. You will have a lack of knowledge in terms of what are the cybersecurity gaps that you are facing in your organization. You're not sure what are the safeguards you should have for your processes, as well as for the solutions that you are developing, and what are the best practice out there to ensure that your solutions and your process are cyber secure. So with that, these are basically based on roundtable that we have conducted and industry engagement. And we asked the industry as well, the group of people that we interact, is it because there's a lack of the knowledge that there are tools out there? And they said, no, it's not because there's lack of tools out there. In fact, the problem is that there are too many cybersecurity tools out there. So I'm not too sure whether if you guys agree with me. There's so many open source tools and so many proprietary tools out there that can help them. The problem is too many. They're not too sure which tools are suitable for them, reasonably priced, and to them, subscription to these tools are expensive. We know that 2 years back when we had GoSecure, vulnerability assessment is expensive. It can cost about $15,000 and above to get your solution go through cybersecurity, go through the vulnerability assessment testing. So tech SME may not have the economy of scale for them to subscribe to such tools. And therefore, what we did at IMDA is that we launched the GoSecure program. The program is designed to support tech SMEs like yourself to build up your cybersecurity capability through the adoption of cybersecurity services and tools internally, so that you can improve the security posture of your product and solutions. So what happened is that under GoSecure program, there's 3 parts to it. I will talk about the first 2 parts, then later I'll talk about the third part. Under the GoSecure program, the first part is whereby we partner with SIT sometime in June 2018, 2 years back, to provide tech SME with security by design consultation, as well as vulnerability assessment testing services at below market rate of 6,500. For the same scope that charges 15,000 that we know of, that was in 2018 where we do the survey, and the survey showed that it costs around 15,000 for the same scope. SIT is doing it at 6,500 and above, of course, depending on complexity of the solutions. If you are interested in a third-party independent vulnerability assessment, you just need to do you can scan the QR code on your left-hand side and then register with SIT for a no obligation discussion. They will then guide you through on what is needed and scope out for you guys. Then, and reach them directly. Then recently, on 1st June 2020, Dutch have mentioned, we expanded GoSecure to provide subsidies up to 80% of the cost that you will need to pay for adoption of other cybersecurity tools and services and other services that you can use them during your SDLC process. We model after the SME Go Digital program. So if you're familiar with SME Go Digital program, you'll be familiar in how to get the subsidies. But don't worry, later my next slide will talk about how you apply for the subsidies. But what I want to talk about here in this slide is that we are looking at pre-qualifying vendor that can provide source code review tools, and these are tools that you guys can use to conduct to identify security flaws in your source code. Then we are looking at pre-qualifying vendors to do to provide log monitoring analysis tool, as well as security testing tools for internal use. Okay, like VA tool that you can use internally. But the other part of things is that we are also pre-qualifying professional services firm to provide security advisory services, as well as to provide pen test services as a third party. For this, we have TÜV SÜD. TÜV SÜD will later share with you their program as well. And for source code review tool, we have Athena Dynamics, which they are here as a speaker as well. So what happened is that the reason why we make available outsourced services as well, which is very unlike what we usually do for SME Go Digital program, is that earlier on I mentioned that tech SMEs, they are very lean. They don't have cybersecurity resources. They don't have cybersecurity knowledge. The best way for tech SME, we feel, is that to support them in procuring professional services in cybersecurity. And therefore, we pre-qualify. For now, is TÜV SÜD. We are on the way to pre-qualify more to provide advisory services, to provide third-party as well, third-party services for testing. So that's under GoSecure for the first 2 components. And if you are interested in the expanded GoSecure tools and services, you can scan that QR code to find out more, and for you to reach out to TÜV SÜD and Athena Dynamics directly. But the process is slightly different from SIT. What you need to do is that you will need to, if you are new to this, and you need to go to the SME Tech Depot, okay, to discover who are the pre-qualified vendor that can provide the tools and services that you need. For now, we have Athena Dynamics and TÜV SÜD. So you can skip this set if you are very sure what you want, okay? And then you just need to contact them directly for an official quotation, okay? Once you have that quotation, you will go to the business grant portal and submit your application for PSG subsidies, which will give you up to 80% of the subsidies of the cost. Okay. This process is exactly the same as SME GoSecure program. Once you submit the application online via Business Grant Portal, the application will be routed to IMDA for evaluation and processing. We will then look at your application and will approve accordingly, and then you will receive a letter of offer informing you of the approved amount and how to submit for claims. Okay, so come to claims wise, the letter offer will state very clearly how to submit for claims. Not sure, you can always contact us. We will reach out to you. Okay, so that is the first two components of GoSecure program. And hold on, because I'm using iPad, so I need to do this. Yes, okay. So for the third part of what we have under GoSecure is that we have made available a self-assessment tool for cybersecurity. It contains a series of questions. It's a lengthy question, a lot of questions in there, but I must say it's definitely worth your time to do it, because these questions are there to assess the current capability gaps in your cybersecurity. Okay, at the end of that self-assessment, you will immediately receive a detailed report. I must stress the word immediately, because it's not a case whereby you submit and wait for one week, 2 weeks, or whatever. No, you will receive it instantly. I must stress the word detailed report, because it's indeed a very detailed report. I've seen the report is very detailed, that provide insights on your current state of cybersecurity capability, the gaps that you need to address, as well as how to address them. So if you're interested in using this tool, you can scan the QR code here. It will launch the tool for you. But don't worry, we will make available this set of slides so that you can do it at your own time, or get the right people to do the tool, the self-assessment tool. Okay, if you do the tool, if you're afraid that we know who you are, we will know, because we're not asking for a UEN number. So you don't need to worry that, well, after I do this tool, you will know that my cybersecurity very weak, or you will know that my cybersecurity very, very good and very gila. No, we won't know. It's basically, we never ask for your company name or whatever, unless you want to leave a detail behind. Okay, so I welcome you to use this tool. I come almost to the end of my presentation, but I really need your help. You help us so as to help yourself. Lastly, because we want to do this very short poll or very quick poll. I stress the word quick because it will take only about 2 minutes at most. I have only 4 questions. These 4 questions, if you answer them, it will help us to understand and help us to improve and come up with new programs. Okay, so what we need you to do is answer these 4 questions. The first question here is, to what extent would you agree with the challenges mentioned in the presentation? Please give a score. If you've forgotten the challenges, that's fine. We just need you to use your phone to scan the QR code here, and then the challenges will appear in that QR code, that survey. So we need you to just give a score. Okay, give a score whether you strongly disagree or you strongly agree, or in between. Okay, this is just maybe 5-second thing, right? The second question I have for you is, will your company adopt any of the pre-approved cybersecurity services and tools within the next 6 months? It's just another 5-second thing, whether yes or no within the next 6 months. Reason we ask this question is to understand the demand, whether is there demand coming from the industry for these tools and services that we mentioned, the one with SIT, the one with TÜV SÜD, and the one with Athena Dynamics. Okay, and the question number 3 and number 4 may take a bit of time. But it's an important question, is what other category of cybersecurity tools and services do you think would be useful to address your company challenges? Okay, do you foresee tools like maybe data privacy tool, because there's indeed such tools available, or do you foresee you need services like some certification services to certain international standard on data privacy in other country or whatever? So let us know. We will then look at whether is there such a demand, is it indeed the challenges, and we will come up with new pre-qualified services that we can make available. And number 4 is any other suggestion on how we can help you to address your needs in building up your capability in cybersecurity. Training or anything else. Training is too common, but what other thing you think can help? Let us know. 3 and 4. But in any case, you don't have time to do 3 and 4, the 1 and 2 is equally important, which is just 10 seconds in total, or you take 2 minutes to complete. I flash out the QR code here again. I appreciate if you can help me to do that survey. Very important for us. And with that, I end my presentation. I can take question via the QR, the Q&A, or I can take question later when all the presentation have been concluded. So I don't want to help anybody time. I want to hand over to Wei Han from SIT, who would be the next presentation. Thanks. Wei Han.
Just a quick check, and everyone see my slides?
Yes, Ken. Go ahead, Wei Han.
All right, good. Okay, so thanks, I hope, for the introduction. So hi, my name is Wei Han. I head the GoSecure program in SIT. We have a subsidiary established in SIT to do that. It's called CYBERSECURITY Private Limited. I'm from the Infocom Technology cluster, and I teach primarily in the area of forensics and also hacking. So we actually have a web security module, for example, that teaches people how to primarily hack web security modules. So for today, instead of talking about why we should do a VA and and all those kind of things, I'm going to talk to you more about what happens in the real world. In the sense, I'm going to talk to you about a few case studies, a few cases that actually happen in the real world. These are hacks, or these are attacks that actually occur, that I actually performed, and so I can describe to you in detail. So the things you're about to, the attacks that you're about to listen to today, they are real. And of course, because of privacy concerns and so on, we have to anonymize the names and so on to protect the entities involved. All right. So we're going to talk about 3 cases today. And these, I mean, as much as we say that, hey, I'm not going to get affected, I'm an SME and so on. Well, some of these actually affect SMEs, right? Some of these attacks are actually on SME kind of solutions. So later on, I think some of the speakers will be talking to you about, why you yourself as an SME can also be affected, and that you're not, really immune from all of this. Hackers don't really just target big names. Hackers target people, or hackers target entities who have valuable information, who are valuable to them, right? So move on to the first case study. So the first one, we're going to talk about how, well, from a kiosk itself, that you go to a shopping center nowadays, you see kiosks everywhere, right? Kiosks being used to display information, kiosks being used for ordering and everything like that. How from a kiosk, I managed to actually get customer data, and this actually resulted in a fine. Later on, I'll talk about it. So here, this is a very high-level overview of what actually occurred. So one fine day, I went to one of a retail outlet, found a kiosk, and in the kiosk there, apparently the application that's displayed on the kiosk, I mean, we can use it normally, but we can also realize that it can be unpinned. And apps being able to be unpinned is more common than you actually think. I mean, especially when you're developing kiosk applications, it's something that you need to think about, right? So we unpinned the app, managed to unpin the app. From there, looked at it. Hey, there's a browser that's open. There's a URL there. The URL looks like a data store. I guess you know what data stores actually look like. I mean, the URL, right? So okay, saw a data store there. Didn't really thought much about it. Then a few hours later, say, hey, that data store, what could potentially be in there? Key into a browser, saw that the data store is actually publicly accessible. So it's not just, let's say, logged to a particular URL or logged to a particular IP address. Can be accessible by the public, by anyone, literally. And inside that data store, we managed to find data containing customers' information, personal information and so on, phone numbers, addresses, all those kind of things. So as a responsible hacker, obviously what we do is, we contact the entity involved, like say, hey, we managed to find this and so on. So we found the contact, we contacted them, no reply. 1 month later, contact them again, also no reply. Now, because this is customer data, no choice, we reported this to PDPC. PDPC investigated, and because this is private information, that company actually got fined because of this. So you can see how from a kiosk itself, right, from all the way from a kiosk, we managed to get all the way to customer data. It might be seemingly unrelated, but hackers don't typically just straight away target the data store. They don't know where the data store is. So they look at, they see, hey, there's a kiosk app, they start to attack the app, they find things from there, they start doing things, they might decompile the app even if they can get access on the app, then, they start attacking, getting information, and then they start getting your private information. For us, for me, I reported it, but for others, we don't know what they're going to do with it, you see. Can be for malicious purposes, right? So think about it for a second. This is quite clearly a failure of, for example, configuration review, a failure of, how they implement the security controls and so on, right? Which, of course, services, cybersecurity services may be able to help mitigate. Next one I want to talk about is more related to those of you who develop your own applications or who develop applications of other people, right? You may have heard of, obfuscation. And it's quite common, especially in mobile applications where, for example, even Android Studio provides the ability to obfuscate things by default, let's say if you want to, right? Now, what we found in this particular case is quite interesting. Well, it's a normal application available in the App Store. Anybody can download it. My hand's a bit itchy. I threw the application into a decompiler. Okay, so it came out, all the, whatever that's supposed to be, that's supposedly the, the decompiled source code, but the source code apparently is encrypted, right? So we thought, okay, encrypted source code, maybe these guys kind of know what they're doing. Then after a while, I looked through the, whatever that's decompiled, I found also, hey, there's an encrypted source code there. There's also the key for the decryption, right? Which means that the guy encrypted the source code, the guy stored the key to decrypt the source code inside the application itself. Okay, fair enough. Try to decrypt it. From the decrypted source code, manage to find APIs, and the APIs themselves, web-based APIs, are unprotected. So from there, once we just enumerate, we can get like basically again personal data of the organization. That the organization stores. Right. This one still writing the write-up to report to the entity involved. Right. The idea here is this. Obfuscation is something that is quite well known. People know about it, but when it's not done properly, for example, and this, if let's say you put this application through a mobile security assessment, for example, it will immediately flag out, hey, the encryption key is inside your application to decrypt the source code. So things like that, the developer may not know, the developer may not even bother about this actually, but you can see how this can actually affect cybersecurity. So from an app alone, we attack all the way to the personal data itself, right? The third and final case I want to talk about, this one, some of you may be familiar with, or some of you may have heard of it before. If you study in the IHL, you probably know how printing works in local universities and local polytechnics. You have a contractor there that does the print services. You send a print job to a print station. You go to the print station later, you key in your ID, you select the job you want to print, you pay for the printing charges, you go to the printer, you get your printed document, and everybody's happy. Right. There were talks some time ago. This was like probably 10 plus years ago, that, hey, there could potentially be a way to manipulate the print station to get free print jobs and so on. Obviously, I didn't try that. The CCTV is pointing at me. I don't want to be famous and so on. But there's actually an even easier way at that point of time to actually get free printing, which essentially was, if this was a standard approach, the so-called the talk at the time was to attack this part here, right? So my easier approach was actually to do this. Apparently, the printer was available over the network, and this is quite clearly a configuration issue, a network configuration issue. They didn't secure the printer, they didn't lock down the printers. It could be that because the application requires the printer to be open, I'm not too sure, right? We didn't go and investigate further. But the whole idea here is, if for example, a resource is available online over the network and people can connect to the printer, they'll just do it. And granted, in this case, I reported it to the vendors and they immediately fixed it. But if, for example, if a hacker were the ones who get access to resources, God knows what they can do with it. A student, for example, will find this and they didn't report it, could get free printing for the entire life of his life in university. So things like that. So things like these, you may think that, hey, it's not going to affect me, but these are in fact what affected these entities, right? Some of them are actually SMEs. We know that because we look at applications, we kind of know who developed it and so on, but of course we cannot reveal them, right? So I hope that, from today, we see that how these three situations are not just everything that we have done, or not just everything that I've done. I've seen more failures or more security failures that can actually be mitigated by just looking through the thing again, running tests, making sure that the security is in place, getting proper advice, getting proper assessments, proper pen tests, and so on, right? So I hope today's talk will plant something, or will see it that cybersecurity is important, because if not, I mean, things like this can potentially happen. It may have happened to other entities, but it may actually happen to you as well. So if you have any questions or comments about today's talk, feel free to drop me an email, or drop some questions on the chat box, the Q&A box there. If you have any questions related to GoSecure, feel free to drop us an email at cybersecurity@singaporetech.edu.sg, and my business development team will actually respond and set up a discussion with you. Right. So without further ado, next speaker is Ruren from TÜV SÜD. I'll hand it over to him. Right, Ruren, please.
All right, thank you, Wei-Han. So yes, very good morning to everyone here. So my name is Ruren. I'm from TÜV SÜD. So can you guys see my slides?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, Ruren.
Great. So yeah, so like what I mentioned, good morning. Thanks for taking the time, right, for this sharing session. I think the whole essence of this sharing is very interesting for SMEs and tech SMEs per se, because this really brings about, how we can actually help you guys to have a more secure product or infrastructure for your services to your clients. So to start, maybe I'll just give a little bit of introduction to the organization I work for. Not sure if you guys are familiar with TÜV SÜD, but this company has actually existed for more than 150 years, 154 years in fact. So we started in 1866 due to a steam boiler incident, right, in Munich, in Germany, sorry. So what happened is, fast forward 150 over years till today, we have changed our business model in the sense we have, evolved the times. We're not looking at steam engines anymore because they don't really exist. So we look at things, a lot of things, especially in the digital space, right, to assure our customers as to providing good and secure services, not just physical security, but also cybersecurity. So this is just a snapshot of the organization profile. Right, so we have more than 1,000 locations worldwide, more than 500,000 certifications, if you're familiar. So certifications like your ISO 27000 and ISO 9000. Yeah. So TÜV SÜD in Singapore, so we started in Singapore as CISA in 1973, and then to PSB, and PSB was corporatized to PSB Corporation, and in 2006 it became part of the TÜV SÜD group. Right, the German company bought over PSB, and we kept that name PSB as a heritage. So for the past 14 years, we have been existing as TÜV SÜD PSB in Singapore and ASEAN. Okay, so without that out of the way, I'm going to talk a bit about this concept of island hopping. Right, so island hopping is, I guess, a term that you guys have been quite familiar with if you go on holidays around the region, especially beach holidays, right? So if you see that picture there, it's a very nice scenic island that's, just waiting for you to jump into the water, right, on a hot sunny day. So island hopping, yes, in the holiday context, it means hopping from one island to another, enjoying the sights and activities on the beach, going to the beach restaurants and stuff like that. So in the world of cybersecurity, we also use island hopping as a terminology whereby attackers or adversaries hop from one network to another, right? So, I mean, of course, attackers and adversaries, they are very smart people, right? Hackers as well. So they know the path of least resistance. They can find out, they can do a lot of reconnaissance work, even social engineering attacks and researches to find out where is a possible path they can take. So in the next slide, I'm going to give you a quick illustration. I hope that makes it clear. Let's look at this as a lateral movement of an attacker. So in this simulation, you can see the final target of the attacker is the tower there with the star, the yellow star, if you can see that, right? So that is the eventual target of attackers. So what do? They look at the attacker, they look at the target, And this target is probably some, very high profile kind of company with probably a lot of money invested into cyber defense. So will the attacker be able to smoothly get into this network? I guess it will take a lot of work, it will take a lot of time, right? And so maybe what the attacker will do is they will do some research and some reconnaissance work. And if they find out that in this whole value chain, right, there is a particular SME that is involved, right? It could be a vendor of a vendor of a vendor, right? So, but it's still one of the entities in the value chain. So as you can see on the far left, you can see a targeted SME, right? So this SME is actually one of the, maybe a third party or even fourth party vendor of this eventual target. We have seen quite a few reports on third party and fourth party risks and how they actually contribute to, helping attackers get to the final target. So if I'm an attacker right now, I would actually look at this particular SME and target them, okay? Because SME profile, I think like what the earlier speakers have mentioned, normally they don't, SMEs don't have a very robust cybersecurity defense, right? And also probably not an internal raid team or whatsoever, right? So what the attacker would do is I would look at this target, I would really try to get in and access to this targeted SME, and then move across some virtual connections via the network to the next level of vendor, to the next, and finally, eventually getting to my final target. So this is actually very possible. I think Wihan mentioned earlier as well, right? So if an SME collects and stores data or provides data for their end customers, and if this data is not secured properly, so you're in for a lot of trouble. And as an SME, I don't think you guys want to be on the news saying that, oh, okay, so one of the government agencies or one of the large corporations got hacked due to a breach from a small SME who is part of the value chain. That is going to be very negative. It's bad press, and that's quite a bit of reputational loss. So this is something that I think this program very, very aptly named, right? So it's a SME ICT GoSecure, right? So GoSecure is really trying to help SMEs, secure and up their security posture in providing good services and robust services to their end clients. So why the need for all these things? With COVID-19, I know this example has been brought up a lot, right? So digitalization and digital transformation have been extremely quickly accelerated due to the COVID-19 situation. A lot of things, a lot of brick and mortar shops are moving online, they're getting digital. And with that, of course, a lot of data is being produced, right? So also with the impending 5G infrastructure that's coming up in Singapore, and also the wide proliferation of AI and IoT, we can see a lot of data being produced and so some of the SMEs hold this data or create this data, but are they securing it correctly? So that's the next question, right? So we have so much data generated and systems are all highly integrated, right? As you can see from the previous slide, right? How you are one party in the value chain, but how you are actually linked to each and every one in the value chain. And there is currently a very low tolerance of downtime. People are getting spoiled by the very quick connections and things are supposed to move instantaneously. When I click on a button, click on a link, right, things are supposed to load immediately. So there's a very low tolerance of downtime, and it really affects your customer experience and the user experience. So downtime is something that is, I guess, frowned upon. Right? And the last fourth point there is the high confidentiality of IP. So as we all know, right, in this age, IP is actually one of the most valuable assets a company can have. And if the SME in question is the one that leaked out or allowed the breach to happen, so for any infringements or any stolen IP, then that is also a large issue. So as you can see, these 4 points plus my number 5 point, which is a ... right? So that means there are so many things that are coming, right? So many security challenges that are happening every single day, right? Due to digital transformation. And this is something that's inevitable and unavoidable. As much as we try to run away from it, we can't. Even traditional F&B businesses, for example, they are all getting digitalized, getting food delivery options, and also putting up their menus and their, social media posts and as a way of marketing. So there's no running away from digital transformation. So the services that TÜV SÜD provide are as follows, right? So there are two main solution categories that we're looking at. So first being the cyber attack surface screening and assessment services. There are 4 different solutions within this package, right? For the SMEs to choose from. Whether it's a security configuration review, a web application gray box penetration test, limited scope, or a web application gray box penetration test, full scope, or endpoint black box penetration test. So what we will do is, all these 4 items are quite different apart from the web application gray box penetration test, right? So what we will do is we will actually speak to our customers, walk through with the SME, right? Find out what are the main things that worry them in that sense. Do you have an active web application that's open to the public? If you have, what kind of data do you store there? What kind of data do you process there? And if it really, for your example, your web application really stores a lot of good personal data that are very valuable to hackers, then that will be our focus for you guys, right? So these are some of the things that we can provide as consulting services for you guys, the ICT SMEs, to help you build up your cybersecurity posture. Is to help you build up the defense of your your applications or your internal systems or the endpoints, right? So next up, we'll talk a bit about the cybersecurity advisory services. So these services are more centered around the system architecture reviews. And as you can see from the 4 items there, they are all quite similar in that sense, with security architecture as its base, right? And some of these items, we've included things like a threat and risk assessment and control review, right? For small and large systems, right? So a lot of SMEs, I believe, out there, like what Ekop shared earlier, they build their infrastructure, they build their systems based on function first, right? And we think about security later. But as we all know, that it's not the best way to build a platform. So, but I mean, what's done has been done. We won't ask you to tear everything down. So what we can do is we can do a status quo security architecture review and also a threat risk assessment to help you understand where are the vulnerabilities and where are the things that you need to enhance and strengthen, right, to bolster your defense. This will also act as a deterrent when adversaries, whether it's a commercial competitor or someone just doing it for fun, for them, making it harder for them to get into your systems, right, to breach your information. So with the different regulations that we have right now, whether you're a fintech, whether you're ICT SME or whatsoever, there are different regulations that you have to comply to. So I think this is a very, very good time to start. So why not start now, right? So we have up to 80% of grants. And thanks to IMDA, this is a very, very good initiative that I think would serve the public very well, right? The ICT SME sector especially. So with that, I would end my presentation and I will pass on to the next speaker, Ken, from Athena Dynamics. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roland, and thank you all for joining this session. Let me share my screen. Okay, is that good? You can see my screen? Okay,
yes,
great.
Ken.
Let me
go ahead, Ken.
it up. Okay, my name is Ken. Ken So. I'm heading basically a tech SME that specializes in cybersecurity, special technologies and services. So essentially a tech SME that spin off from the group IT department of a larger group, which is also a SME. So I put the word here, SME for SME, which we believe we can contribute directly because we understand some of the attributes and challenges that even like what Ehok mentioned, we run a lean sheet. And also in a way, SME probably when facing cybersecurity challenge, there are so many tools out there. So which one to choose? So the title is binary code. Yeah, just now Ehok also mentioned a lot about the importance of source code review. Yes, this is a platform that does source code review if you have the source code, but we have found something which is pretty special and important because the way that we look at the security of application, not just source code. So we advocate the focus on both the source portion as well as the binary code portion, which is essentially something that is deployed in a production environment. So quick one, basically we belong to the group called BH Global, which is about 50 over years in business in Singapore, listed in maritime supply chain business as their core. To relate better, probably this photo may be familiar to you. So one of the subsidiaries is actually in the manufacturing of fever sensing too, cameras and such. Yeah. So we spin off from the IT department about 6 years ago when we started to discover that cybersecurity in our transformation effort is something so important, especially SME. So we have devoted quite a fair bit of resources in search of a security tool that's practical, actionable. Yeah. So practically, it is warming to see multi-party today to be able to come together and not just provide advisory, but provide actionable, practical services and tool for SME to help the SME at such a challenging period of time. Yeah. So as discussed, we spin off from BH Global. So we always cite the phrase of eat our own dog food because I'm still holding the responsibility of running the IT operation in the group. And every time when we encounter challenges, we find and research the best tools. And when it's good, then we park under Athena Dynamics to share with the industry as well. So we also started a service branding called Good Hackers Alliance that allows us to help SME and companies when they face cyber challenges. So more from a service perspective. So we see hopefully as an SME, we can help SME because we know the challenges at heart, what are the focuses and what to address. So now jump right into the current situation of the new norm that we mentioned today. So we need to be so isolated physically and digitally and working from home. This is the very desk, the real one that I work from right now at home. Yeah. So as Ruren also mentioned just now that, now the transformation is key. Digital transformation, whether be it digital transformation or subsequently achieve business transformation to actually adapt to the new norm, so-called. And as we know, business transformation, all these transformation buzzwords has been said for the longest time, and is always see from something that our upstairs will drive it. But today, unfortunately, there's no choice. It's driven by the situation of COVID-19. So when we talk about transformation today, it is really a mandate. There is no time, there's no choice already. It's a matter of innovate or evaporate. Okay, so when we go digital, then of course, a very common area that we should focus on is to bring our services and our product offerings online. And that we can't run away from application. So when we have application, then the application has to put online. And unlike when we run brick and mortar business, the application is exposed worldwide. And we do not know who are the people that are coming to use your application. It can be of good intent, or it could be of malicious intent, all right? So how to actually secure the application? There are so many ways. Okay, so you can do VA, you can do PT, but we see that a baseline of checking the code is important. But we know what to do, but do we know how to do it right? Right. So the current practice a lot is to actually use source code scanning tool to scan your source code and find out the DNA of the source code, whether there is backdoor, there's undocumented features, there's bad practices, right? OWASP top 10, all those things. Then when it's good, we deploy. However, in our view, this is not sufficient because as we know, the source code has to go through a compilation process, and the compiler is another application. It's never perfect. It's not Iron Man, all right? So what happened is then we produce a binary code, and the binary code may have vulnerability because of the compiler, right? So then we advocate an additional step of checking the binary. If you have the source code, the tool will be able to allow you to check the source code, and after which with binary, you can check the binary. And with this approach, there's also another thing that's pretty important is if you don't have the source code, you buy, for example, a third-party code, and you only have the binary, you don't have the source code. And this application has to be deployed in an important business process. Then it is good to use this kind of binary SAS, source code review tool, that is able to reverse engineer in the background, and then you will do white box scanning of the reverse engineer source, right? So you check the binary, and if the binary is okay, then it's ready to face the world. Okay, so some of the things that we may not have thought of when we just focus on source code scanning is today plugged in the modern development platform of agile environment, CI/CD. There are so many different tools, and some of the tools may have undocumented features, and some of the tools may not have source code per se, right? And then we also buy third-party tools. So the binary code scanning portion comes in very pertinently to address this portion. And yeah, we're happy that we are able to get the grant from being a pre-approved vendor to be able to offer this kind of scanning service, scanning tool at affordable price for the SME, which is, I think, very much needed. So the next slide actually is a video, a short video of less than 2 minutes. I will run through it to sort of quickly introduce you what this tool is all about. It's called App Screener. But before that, I would like to also advise that today in the web fronting tool, there are also a lot of bots meaning robots that come in. Even if you have the most scanned and secure tool, we may not know whether it is a real human or it's a robot that is using it, right? So there are also technologies that is able to sieve out this type of different things coming in, so that you know, not just from cyber perspective, you know that they call it marketing integrity, whether your analytics that is collected from your website is actually accurate, fully done by human. Okay, let me run through this video, just so to be clear. Are you able to see the video?
Yes, go ahead, Ken.
Okay, good, all right. Okay, so as we know today, application like what we mentioned are actually not perfect, and then we have a lot of incidents happening. Okay, they are vulnerable to the internet access. So we have cases whereby incidents involve direct stealing of money or even direct stealing of information. We need not go into all this detail. There are so many incidents. So with transformation, then more of these things is going to happen, and we expect more to happen with COVID-19 and things. And this is especially so if the source code is out of reach. So this app screener thing, if you have source code, is able to support up to 33 programming language. At this moment, it's more growing. You can scan the source code, tell you the probably bad practices, all right? And it is actually able to scan even like binary in mobile environment with integration into the SDLC or CICD framework. And you can see that the integration catered to quite a mainstream of branding that you can interface with. All right, so we make the entire seamless development possible. Okay, so it requires the software development skill may not be that necessary, because when you scan, the dashboard is pretty user friendly. Backdoor is highlighted immediately, even able to recommend what are the configuration enhancement you need in your WAF after the scanning. Okay, so the other aspect of such scanning is always about false positive. So it has a fuzzy logic portion that is able to allow you to configure so that the scanning result is very focused, less of a false positive. And it supports major compliances, even like PCI in payment industry, HIPAA in the healthcare industry. With SaaS and cloud now so popular, it has cloud version, And it also has on-prem version, whichever that is needed by different use cases. So that's all about the video. And yeah, you can scan the QR code. The left side is directly into the IMDA site. The right side is into Athena Dynamics site. Yeah. You can call us as well. The mobile phone is here. All right. So that's all I would like to share with you today. Hope these are directly useful to your business. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ken. Okay, we have reached the question and answer segment. So I see that there are quite a lot of interesting questions that I would like to ask Dutch to come and facilitate the Q&A segment. And yes, so you can ask your questions in the Q&A function, right? And our presenters will be answering it live. All right. At the same time, for those that are wondering about the slides, right, if where you can download, etc., I would have a feedback form for you to fill up, right? So after you fill up the screen, after you fill up the feedback form, then you will be able to receive the link that will be able to lead you to download the today's slides. Right, so as I have this screen up here, I'd like to call upon Dutch to facilitate the Q&A segment. Dutch, please.
Thank you, Alicia. I think, thank you all the speaker. It is a very fruitful session for everyone to hear from this. I have some question has been posted and some has been answered live. And right now I have 3 open questions that we have today. Christopher Lim was sharing about, we want to find out more about the security advisory. From this angle, which speaker were able to answer this question, or TÜV SÜD? I believe you have done security advisory that services that you provide.
Yeah, thanks, Dutch. So hi, Christopher. So I think what I shared earlier was the different packages and different solutions that we have. And I mentioned part of it is the pen testing and part of it is the advisory service. So for the advisory, it's more of the security architecture reviews and things like risk assessments and threat risk assessments. So what I can do is I can get connected with you. I think we have already been in emails. What I'll do is I'll give you more information probably after this session as well. So in a nutshell, maybe for the general audience, is that the security advisory is really a snapshot, right, view where our advisors will come in and look at all your different security architecture and point out things and probable vulnerability points that you may have, right? So as to help you guys mitigate those vulnerabilities. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. Yeah.
Thank you, Ruan. And if those who have more questions, please write into the tab on the Q&A tab. Okay, next very interesting questions that Johnny Sick is asking. Most of Singapore are on these are SMEs, right? And right now everybody's impacting with this COVID-19 and the retrenchment, everything is coming along and closure of company is growing much more these days. And what should the SME going to prioritize these against these cybersecurity requirement, and how they're going to prioritize those action items within the company, I mean the SME company. So I think I would like to invite Ekop, maybe have some view on it.
Yes. Okay. I think this is a very good question. I give us an opportunity to discuss this openly and candidly with the industry here. Even without COVID, to be honest, I think everybody knows cybersecurity is a hard sell. Indeed, very hard sell, especially among our SME sector. You know, right? You mentioned here 99% of Singapore businesses are SMEs. And SMEs being SMEs, they are not willing to pay more for a cyber secure solution. So if they're not willing to pay more or pay a premium for it, then of course you are in the business of providing solutions. You will also don't want to do more, right? Simply because customer is not paying. So we have this very difficult problem. But at the highest level, within the government as well, cybersecurity is indeed a risk to Singapore. It's a bigger risk as well because 99% of Singapore is owned by SME businesses. So you can see the impact is very great. And more so as well for our SME Go Digital vendor, because there's a multiplier effect. Even if you are not SME Go Digital pre-approved vendor, you are in the business of selling to a lot of SME businesses. So you carry that risk. And that's why if you ask whether will this GoSecure program at the end of the day, especially now with COVID, move the needle in moving all the tech SME towards a more cyber secure solution, I'm really not sure. But our management also don't think so. But they think that it's right to do this, largely because cybersecurity is indeed a priority for the country. It may not be a priority for the company, but we feel that because a priority for the country, we have to trigger it down. We understand that it's a pain. Some of the tech SME don't even see this as an insurance at all. Don't even see this as an investment. They don't even see this as a hygiene. That's worse. So because of that, what we do is that we increase our support level to 80%. We decided to even support companies to procure services. So to lower down the pain point, we can't support 100% because that's not how our government works, right? There must be co-pay one. Even now, I think in most company, your medical benefit is also co-pay. They won't pay 100% for you, otherwise there'll be an abuse. So-called, there's a perceived abuse of the grant or a perceived abuse of medical benefit. So usually it's co-pay, whether co-pay $5 or co-pay $20 or what. So that is the case here. 80% support level, especially now. But I can tell you, when there is no more COVID, cybersecurity is still a hard sell. It's still a hard sell. It's still something that we still need to push. It may not be pushed by IMDA in future. It may be pushed by CSA. Whatever it is, cybersecurity, whether at all level within our at all industry sector, is something that we want to within the government is something that we want to prioritize, and we hope that company will also prioritize this and do it out of their own motivation. But apparently it's not. So the government intervention is needed in this space, in this case. So we make grant available to company that want to get a little push, and therefore hopefully the grant can help. I hope I answer Johnny's question. I don't know the rest of the panelists. Anybody want to take on the question?
Maybe I can add on a little bit to this. Yes, I think I empathize with the fact that there's a COVID situation going on and SMEs are affected, but hackers don't really care about that. Hackers will still hack you. Hackers will still go about doing their job. You see, in fact, if let's say I'm putting myself in the shoe of a hacker, when's a better time to actually target people? Now, because when everybody's down, when everybody's like taking cutting costs and everything like that, well, there could be opportunity for us hackers to attack. So we're not going to slow down. And in fact, if cybersecurity is not being prioritized, that's going to be a problem later on. So I hope this shows you a little bit about the other side of the coin, you see, from the attacker's point of view.
Yeah, maybe I would like to add to that as well from the observation so far facing the industry, because we actually interface with customers in the markets directly. I see that it is not a uniform kind of a response, because it depends on what business the SME is in. To share with you, yes, it is going through a very difficult time. We have SME, even not SME, came to us and wanted to terminate contract because they signed 3 years, and after 2 years, they come to us, and even their SME, they tell us, we can't even have money to pay their employees, right? So we will cut all our IT spending, not just cybersecurity. So we come in with a more empathetic approach as well. We work out something, maybe delayed payment or just do the essential for this group of people. We also have another group of industry that's coming in. They want more because of COVID. There are certain industry that I'm not trying to say that we capitalize on the bad situation, but certain online trading, logistic centric provision is doing much better than the past. Right, I mean the light of SingPost, of course that's not SME, but just an example. The net profit year to year increased by 2.5 times. I mean, so it is not a unified thing. But to answer that question, what I see is that for SME that is hit by the business, by nature of the business that is very much affected, no choice, they have to do transformation and plan ahead. So when they plan ahead and they go digital and they strike on a business model that would thrive in this type of environment, they will have to consider cybersecurity. Yeah, that's my view of it.
Thank you, Ken. Any speaker, panelists would like to share more regarding this COVID situation, and we need to prioritize our work within cybersecurity and survival?
So sorry, Dutch. So maybe I think the Wei-Han and Ken has mentioned very good points already. So maybe I just share my little bit of experience here as well. Is that I've been speaking to SMEs, SME owners, and also the MNC side of things, right? So as you can see, the sentiment is very different, and I do fully appreciate what Johnny has said, right? And it's very true, right? We need to keep our staff, need to keep our operations going. And do you think we can still spend on cybersecurity? That is something that I've heard from some SME owners as well. But truth to be told, I think we should always look at cybersecurity as something that can help to enable and to push your business up to the next level, rather than something that is a cost and just pulls you back, right? Because how you can enable yourself once you digitize, your reach is so much bigger, right? So once you put yourself out there, of course, you need to secure yourself, and that should really help your business as well, right? If any business marketed the right way, I think on the digital front, it will help to grow your interest in your business exponentially as well. So I think this is byproduct, but I guess this is inevitable thing. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, panelists. I believe we have answered Johnny's questions. With COVID or without COVID, I think this is very important on this cyberspace, especially when we're heating up all the internet and everybody work from home, leverage a lot of this wide area. I believe that cybersecurity, to secure yourself, is much important. Okay, so I have going to the next question. I have already applied for PhD grant last year for the PAPT and ISO certification. What is it? It's Go Digital and Go Business Axis grant. There's a few grants here that are running together. Yeah, I believe this came from different bodies. Today we are talking more on the GoSecure.
Yeah. Can I take this question, Dutch?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to maybe it's a good chance for me to clarify. The GoSecure programs, how is it different from the SME Go Digital program? I think a lot of people are confused by it. Okay, so I must say that SME Go Digital program is a program that support adoption of technology for the purpose of digitalization by SME in all sector. By SME in all sector. I think this is a very important point to make. By SME in all sector. So which means to say that if you are a business SME in the F&B sector, you go to SME Go Digital program to procure, maybe to subscribe the use of CRM tool or whatever. or CRM solution. They call it solution, they don't call it tool. That's why we try to differentiate by calling ours tools, okay? But the GoSecure program, is a program for tech SMEs, only tech SMEs, okay? It targets tech SME for them to use cybersecurity tools and services, for them to use it during the solution development and deployment of their tech products. Okay, so these tools and services under GoSecure are meant to be more complex and more technical to use for use by their technical team, which means to say, let's talk about example, source code review tool. Source code review tools are largely used by, for example, the developers. When they do their coding, they use source code review tools to check their source code. Do the FMB business owner need it? They don't need it. So it's not part under SME Go Digital program. It's part under GoSecure program. But SME Go Digital program, I understand, they also have cybersecurity solution, which they also pre-qualify or pre-approve, and is in the process to also pre-approve more. Okay, more vendor for their 4 category. They also have 4 category, but 4 different category. Their 4 category is pertaining to data loss protection, endpoint protection, unified threat management, and managed detection and response. Okay, so you can see that theirs is more in terms of the endpoint, and it's meant for use by, it's more generic tools, more generic solutions for use by any SME in any sector for their operation of their business. Not so much for developing a technology product. Okay, so so I hope I have explained the difference in that. And you mentioned about sorry, I lost the question. What's the question now? Okay, you mentioned that you have applied for PSG grant. I'm not too sure, no. I don't think you can apply for PSG grant for SME Go Digital program. For VA and PT, I don't think that is true. You may have applied for, you may have used the same business grant portal, be the business grant portal. In the business grant portal, of course, there you use the same portal. In the portal, there is PSG, there is EDG, there's also MRA. I think you actually apply for EDG. Companies, which I openly want to share with everyone here, is another side tips. Companies can, any companies, anyone in any sector, not just technology sector, can apply for ISO 27001 for subsidy support using enterprise development, EDG. So I think, Marcus, you may have applied for EDG, not PSG. So maybe it's in the same portal, just that you may have applied for EDG. So if you apply for EDG to defray the cost of implementing ISO 27001, it is supportable. You can apply for that. Okay, VAPT, I'm not too sure you can apply just like that. It usually have to couple with product development. Okay, if you want to apply just like that for your existing product or for use for doing your work, then you have to go through GoSecure. Okay, so I hope I explained what's the difference between the GoSecure program and the SME Go Digital program, which is the Go Business Assist Grant.
Okay, thank you, Eckhart. I think, okay, for now, I think you all have to really cherish and treasure that, because a lot of grant out there in the market, all the goals and all the so next is the we have one questions from SME adopt pre-approved solution. Does it mean that the pre-approved solution are deemed and secure, and hence SME use them confidently, either for them the use of solution provides? I think this is Peter was mentioned, it's really a stamp 100% confirm that if let's say this is pre-approved vendor and to go into, yeah.
Okay, I think the question has to be answered by me lah, because I'm the only representative from IMDA. But I must let you know I'm not from the SME Go Digital team, so I cannot speak on behalf of them. I can only speak on behalf of them as a colleague. So I'm just their colleague. But I can tell you this, if an SME adopt pre-approved solution, it means that the pre-approved solution will have gone through certain standard. That was the reason why SME Go Digital program come out with this program to do pre-approval. Okay, and I understand from them that I think it's beginning of, should be this year or beginning of last year. I think 1st Jan or 2nd Jan 2019. SME Go Digital program has made it mandatory that if you want to have your solution pre-approved and you want to be a pre-approved vendor of SME Go Digital program, your solution must have gone through vulnerability assessment testing and must have what, zero think there's no zero vulnerability of certain criticality or whatever. So they have certain standard. Because there's three different type of vulnerability, right? Maybe it's the highest tier of the major and critical vulnerability, something like that have to be near in the report. So sorry about that. So what it means is that if you are a solution provider and your solution was pre-approved after that 1st or 2nd Jan 2019, your solutions tend to have, maybe slightly more secure lah. But it doesn't mean all solution, okay? It's only those solutions that have, they call it PIM, personally identified data. So if, for example, if a solution contain individual data, then that solution have to have a vulnerability assessment report submitted as part of the criteria. Okay. So I hope I can answer that question. That is another step of trying to push our tech SME to, cyber secure their solution. So can we say to customer and to government agency that, look, my solution is pre-approved by IMDA SME Go Digital program, so it's 100% secure. I don't think that's the way to say lah, because each client will have their own cybersecurity requirement. Let's say you provide it to the bank. The bank, of course, have a different requirement. It's a more stringent requirement than what SME Go Digital have put in for their pre-approval. So we have to be careful about that lah. But it's at least a basic step to make sure that our tech sector, the solution that they put in SME Go Digital, is of a certain standard in terms of not just the feature and functionality, but also in terms of the cybersecurity. Okay. I just want to take a question about, can you advise about what are some of the security certification? I think someone mentioned ISO 27001, but I also personally, I have a view as well that, cybersecurity and data protection is a fine line. So of course there is a certification to data protection. Singapore has PDPA, the European has the GDPR, I think GDPR. Then there's cybersecurity also, different sector will have different standard. We also have the PCI DSS. So these are all security and data privacy certification that maybe you guys are interested in, especially if you want to, to use as a demonstration of confidence to your potential client that you guys are certified to not just cybersecurity, but also data privacy. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rico. Okay. Maybe just pull up one question, right? How many rounds of vulnerability assessment testing will be there? I think I will pass it to SIT to answer.
Again, I missed out the question.
Okay, how many rounds of vulnerability assessment testing will be there for your offering?
Okay,
we had
for SIT, I mean the GoSecure program, we did. Oops, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, it's good.
Right. So for SIT, liability. Yeah, what we typically do is 2 rounds of VA. So when a company comes to us, we'll look at the application, we'll try to scope it. If it's within our capability, we can do it, we'll do it. And then we'll perform, after contracting and everything, we'll perform the first vulnerability assessment. Then we produce a set of reports. The client can take it on, fix all these, the issues that are, let's say, the high critical and so on, and then they come back to us for a second round of scans, right? And then we run a second round of scans, so we produce the final set of reports, and that's a report that they typically use for the PSG grants or for the Go Digital application and so on.
Okay.
Yeah, so I hope this answers the question.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, we're going to wrap up. We have another 4 more minutes to go, and we can take another question. This Frankie Yup. He said, are we able to apply as one of the panelists and speaker here to be part of the GoSecure vendor? I believe this one will be passing to Ekok again.
Okay, SME GoSecure vendor. Oh, you mean our GoSecure program as a vendor?
Yes.
Yes, you can drop us an email. We will follow up with you. We need to understand your tools or the services that you're interested in, and then we'll arrange for a demo to understand more.
Thank you, Ekok. We still have 3 minutes to go. Maybe from the panelist side that they have your advice or your words to share with the audience. Maybe we go to Ekok first.
Okay. Since we got 4 minutes, I just want to take maybe just 1 minute and give it the rest.
Yeah.
I think cybersecurity, I think a lot of companies should not see as a cost. Don't even see as a hygiene. I think you should see as a value proposition. It's something that you can do to demonstrate to your future client that, look, you guys take cybersecurity seriously. And if you can couple it with data privacy and data protection, IMDA, we have data protection trust mark. So that could maybe help to demonstrate to your potential client. You should see it as a revenue generating activity. Don't see it as a incurring cost for something that the client don't want to pay. So you see that it's very painful. I would want you to change your perspective of how you view cybersecurity, so that the nation benefit and our cyber defense is stronger. Because cyber defense, I heard now, is total defense, right? One of the 6 pillars. Total defense. You got to do something about it, man, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Ekok. Thank you for this last remark. And also, Ken.
Oh yes, I'm very tempted to share the Lamborghini story, but the condensed version, maybe that will be directly relevant. Yeah, as we approach the market, quite a fair bit of them are also SME. There are 2 types that we actually encountered. One is that the SME desperately chasing us because they got into incidents. And usually they will not tell you. But of course, we as a cyber specialists, we come in, we know the situation, and we will help them. So this is post-event. And pre-event is always, we talk about this under the Lamborghini example, is that I went to an SME Tauke. He looked at me, he's like, not interested. I'm not a bank, why should I worry about all this? I think my P&L more important. Tomorrow I can survive or not, my business can sustain or not, is more important. So then he showed me his network, not even with a firewall, right? So I say, you can basically get a basic thing. He asked me how much. I say, well, maybe your shop of 30 over people is a few thousand. He said, wow, so expensive. So later on, when I left the office, I drove away in my humble car. He left his office in his Lamborghini. Yeah, so that is, I agree with Ekok. This is really very hard to educate. But I think as more things happen, I think the awareness actually will raise and they will understand. I mean, it's nothing different from personal insurance, right? So people don't buy insurance when they get hit with something. The hospital bill can choke up to 50,000 easily. So without insurance, they will suffer. But usually post-event is quite sad to share. Not to scare people, but sometimes when we come to SME that got breached is in desperation, that there is no backup, data are all gone. So the question then is, do you want to pay ransom? So then the next question is, even if you pay ransom, does it work? Even if you get back your data, is the data reliable? So there's also always a joke that under the framework, the legal framework of Singapore, if someone gets kidnapped, paying ransom actually is illegal. Just joking. But yeah, so need to think ahead. It's an education process. Yeah.
Thank you, Ken. I think this story has been going on and on about Lamborghini, and it's really a real case. Okay.
Yes.
Next, I want to invite TÜV SÜD to maybe sharing about his last remark.
Okay, thanks, Dutch. So I think to close this off, I think really thank you guys for your time to come here and listen to us and to share what we can provide you guys. So just to note is that, yeah, I think I don't have a very interesting anecdote like Ken has about Lamborghini story, but I think what I have to say is something a bit more factual. Is really we understand, we do hear a lot of feedback, a lot of sentiments from SME, Tauges, and even startups, right? I've been speaking to a few startups as well. Their concern is, no way, I'm not going to spend this money because to give myself more problems, right? But I mean, so I asked that question, how do you intend to scale your business, right, within the next 5 to 10 years? Are you just really going to stick to a brick and mortar? Are you really going to stick to your traditional models whereby you just want to, not do anything digitally? So most of them say that, yeah, we want to put ourselves online and make things, available 24/7 to my clients. So they want to do that to their clients. So I said, then you need to, have proper defense lah. If you don't have, then the whole thing might just crumble, right? You get complaints, you get hacks. So I really try to help them, but I do understand their sentiment also lah. So, but we've tried to find a balance, and I think with this program, it really does take a huge chunk of the cost off. So it really lowers that cost barrier. So I mean, forgive me for hard selling, but it's really the true sentiment I have as well. So I was pretty excited when this whole thing first started, because I really think it will help the ICT SMEs out there, right? So thank you very much, and yes, back to you, Dutch.
Thank you, Ruan. And then last, not least, SIT, we have.
I think I just have this to say that hackers would not slow down because of COVID. Hackers will not slow down because of anything. If they see an opportunity to attack you, they will attack you. If they see an opportunity to gain information, they will, try to gain information by hacking and so on. Granted, I mean, we may have cybersecurity laws to say that, hey, if a person is caught hacking, he may be, penalized under the law and so on. But typically, I mean, from investigation, I mean, in the first place, you even find out that you're being hacked. Then there needs to be investigation. There needs to be all these kind of legal process and everything like that. It's going to take time. And as an SME, I think you need to figure out, by the time all this is resolved, the hacker gets penalized. But what's going to happen to the company itself? What's going to happen to the product that you sell, your reputation? Will people start saying, hey, that particular company is selling solutions that can be hacked by somebody else? I mean, even though the hacker got penalized, what's going to happen? How is the company going to be affected now? So all these kind of things need to come into play, you see. So it's not just about, well, there's a framework out there to penalize hackers. There's all these kind of things in place and so on. It's about your solution, your ability to protect your solution against attackers. And even if you go for a VA, for example, nobody's going to, a VA or PT isn't going to say that, your solution is 100% secure. It's just going to say that, look, we've tested this solution, we've found these vulnerabilities. Tomorrow, for example, if let's say there's a 0 day that targets a different part of the application, you will need to retest. You will need to, constantly do these kind of tests and so on. So cybersecurity is not just a one-off thing; it's a continuous thing. And I think someone actually posted on the Q&A that maybe to put it under IT maintenance or web maintenance services, maybe it's something along that lines we can think about, as something recurring that a company, the SME developers, we need to think about that. How can cybersecurity be fitted into the whole life cycle of their development, from all the way from the design process to everything itself, what we call the security by design. So I hope you see from a different perspective that hackers aren't going to slow down, and it's really up to us to decide what we want to do about it, right? So I think that's about what I have to say, right? Thank you.
I think it's great, Rihan. Thanks for this last remark. I think we are end of this webinar, and we'll keep this session rolling. If any questions that want to come in again, and just post it on. We will get these our panelists to reply on it. And please, again, this webinar to make us successful, please submit your feedback, which is very important. I would say that cybersecurity today is very important, and don't take it as a pinch of salt. Is basically that is a life matter right now as a total defense. Try to leverage as much as possible all the grants that we have on the GoSecure program. I think this is a very important, and I don't see any such country that are doing so much for SME today. So guys, thank you very much. So my time, I'll pass it to Alicia. Alicia, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Dutch, and also thank you very much to all the presenters for sharing such insightful presentations. And to all the audience, thank you for being a great audience and for asking all these questions. We have reached the end of our webinar, but as you can see on the screen, we have the feedback form. So if you like to have today's slides, please fill up the feedback form, and at the end of it, there will be like a thank you for completing the form, and there will be a link embedded there, and that link you can take to download the slides. All right, so thank you very much, and just wishing everyone a great Thursday ahead. Thank you, and see you all. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Stay
Bye.
safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Alicia.
Thanks. Thanks, everybody.
Enjoyed it. Good one. A lot of insight. Thank you, guys. Really good. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for staying. All right.
Yeah.